Here we go!
Hey Blue Blurs, what is up? This is Gamer Blake 90, a man of many titles. Those include collector of Sonic merchandise, proud chief of the Blue Blurs, and your reliable provider of all things Sonic the Hedgehog. You might have noticed I'm not looking all that thrilled right now, so you might be asking, why is that? Well, that might have something to do with the nature of the stage that we're on right now. From first glance, you would think that this would be a fun-loving carnival, but the further you play through the stage, the more you realize that it's anything except that. Such is the nature of the Carnival Night Zone in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, a stage that has halted the progress of many gamers in their childhood days. My own included, for a time. And why might that be, you're asking? Well, it might have something to do with these nasty little buggers right here, the Barrels of Doom. If I remember right, the Sega shop over at Europe actually released a mug that was based on the Barrel of Doom of Sonic 3. As more like a cheeky gesture towards how much of a headache it was, especially in the second act. The first act, not so much. So we'll save the nightmarish story of the Barrel of Doom for the next act. For now, let's see if we can make short work of the first act. Hopefully really short, because I've expressed at the end of the Marble Garden Zone, I do not like this stage. At all. I think it actually required me to use debug mode to finally get through the second act, particularly the section that many of you might know of what I'm referring to by now. But again, we'll save that for later. Now, this we unfortunately can't go through. It's meant to, force out to the left side rather than the right, so we're not going to be able to run through that no matter how fast Sonic goes. Instead, we're going to hitch a ride on this, interesting circular device right here that is awfully reminiscent of Sonic CD Metallic Madness Zone, where you run along similar objects, which look a lot more like gears, I think, rotating gears or something like that. As long as you keep the control stick pointing in the correct direction, you can always keep running around it in circles, but right now it doesn't seem to be wanting to work. Okay, there we go. Now, when you're going through narrow passageways like that, you better check your surroundings carefully. Because a spike bed could come popping out from above any second now, and you could end up losing a life immediately because of the fact that you will end up getting crushed by the collision detection. You do not want that. If I could get up here, please, that would be really appreciated. A large amount of Carnival Night Zone consists of these hover pads, many of which you can usually float up from below in order to hover above them and then guide your movement to wherever it is you feel like going, but sometimes they don't seem to want to work appropriately. And look at that! An example of a spike bed from above. Sonic being at his current height, he's most likely susceptible to getting crushed flat by them, so be very careful. Now these guys you cannot defeat by jumping on top of them, but one thing you can do is either insta-shield them or spin dash them. But if you opt to take the approach to spin dash, do so from behind if you can, because they will spit out a projectile from their front, as you have just seen seconds ago. Be very careful of that. Wait a minute. Oh, I see. I had just realized that the tunnel we just came out of has abruptly reopened, and I was wondering why, because usually they don't do that. And then I realized that it was, improvising for Tails being shot up through it from below. So it's basically allowing Tails to make his exit. Good to know. Sometimes I'm not sure how to feel about the soundtrack for Carnival Night Act 1, and I'm definitely not sure how I feel about this Act 1 boss. Remember when I talked about potentially getting crushed by spike beds? Well, here is a similar threat, only this time, you have to worry about this spinning top right here, which at the same time that it poses a threat to you, will also be your means of attacking this boss. Hopefully, before all the blocks beneath you are destroyed, because if they all are destroyed, you will fall into an empty pit and die. Luckily for us, unlike the other mini-bosses, we only need to land 4 hits to take care of this guy. And it's as simple as that. Then it'll eventually float us down all the way to the bottom, where we will finish off the first act. That boss happened a lot faster than I was expecting it to, because it tends to be a It tends to be a nuisance, let's put it that way. You could die immediately if you get bopped by the spinner from above, and that is basically treated as getting crushed. Imagine fighting this boss while having over 200 rings in your possession, like I just now was, before the game took them all away from me. And then you get crushed. Especially when you're one hit away from taking this guy out. God, that had to have upset many kids back then. I can already hear it in my head right now. What the? Well, I can't finish that phrase, because then I'd have to censor myself, but you know what I mean. So we're here at Carnival Night Act 2, which has water. And I had to know, where exactly does the water come from at a carnival? I guess if a carnival had water rides, it would make sense, but those would tend to be more commonplace at a water park than a carnival. Or am I going nuts? Either way, we had the bubble shield. No. Oh my god, I very nearly got crushed because I got a little careless there. But we should be fine. Well, that's one reason why that little artifact there is called the Barrel of Doom. Is that, that looks like reddish, is it? Yes, it is. I thought it might be the slot machine bonus stage, which I haven't shown off yet in this playthrough, oddly enough. So we're gonna go ahead and exit out of that one because I don't want to trade shields just yet. For the Carnival Night, for Carnival Night Act 2, you're definitely gonna prefer the bubble shield. Because that won't be our only encounter with water in this stage. Seriously though, what? Are you serious? That little thief, man, I swear to God. But to be honest, I forgot that he was there. And you think how when I played this game, I wouldn't forget the enemy placement, but apparently that is not true. So how the platform works, it is basically inflatable. You have to jump off of it to make it go up so that it will carry you to the upper section. If you simply stand on it, it will eventually fall onto that spike bed, which could result in you getting hurt. So in other words, rapidly jump to control the platform and you can use it like an elevator. We also have these cannons that we can fire ourselves out simply by jumping into them and then pressing the jump button once it points in a direction that we would prefer to go towards. The only problem is you can't manually control the cannon as far as the direction it's facing. You have to wait for it to go in the direction you wanted to and then jump. We can also use the balloons as stepping stones that will achieve a similar purpose, which is really nice of them, and they regenerate as well. Although you kind of have to use what we'll call the screen reset glitch to get them to reset, and that involves moving yourself to a far enough distance for them to actually respawn. Also, one thing that this game, well, I didn't mean to pick up the fire shield, my bad, but one thing about these barrels that the game does not make clear to you is the fact that you can manually control them by tilting the stick or pressing the D-pad up and down repeatedly so that it actually goes up and down a lot further, and in turn, increasing your launch velocity when you... Okay, I'm not gonna get crushed, thank goodness. When you decide to jump off of them. But again, the game does not make that detail clear to you. And that in turn, made one particular section regarding the second act next to impossible to get around. In fact, that was one thing well, crap. That was a slot machine bonus stage right there. But we're not gonna worry about that. Instead, we're gonna worry about this knucklehead causing more trouble for us. And you know something I realized? He never appeared in the Marble Garden Zone for a cutscene, but only now does he decide to show his face again. I almost think that he was so convinced about Sonic being the enemy and Eggman being trustworthy that he decided to leave the Marble Garden completely to Eggman's mercy. Like, it's the only explanation I can think of that would make sense when trying to explain away his absence. Sorry, Tails, see you later. When trying to explain away Knuckles' absence in Marble Garden. There's also another state where he doesn't show up for a cutscene, and I believe that would be the Ice Cap Zone. Which frankly is blasphemous on his part because Ice Cap is such a magical zone in Sonic 3, but it's not even funny. Wait, we can actually attack these guys? I didn't know you could attack them. I thought you had to avoid them at all costs, but clearly not. Well, Tails showed me something. Wow, look at that. Sonic 3, meet the Marble Zone. Marble Zone? I can't talk right now. Sonic 3, meet the Labyrinth Zone. I'm sorry. Luckily, that is only brief now, as once you get over here, the water level actually starts to decrease. So I think we're going to be jumping back into that water in just a bit once we get past these obnoxious barrels. Hopefully without getting flattened. Thank goodness. Collision detection was generous there this time around. Now, hopefully we do come come across one particular barrel that caused a headache I was alluding to since I started talking about this stage. At least I'm hoping so. It's located pretty far along, like close to the end of this act, as a matter of fact. So it's no surprise we haven't gotten to it yet, but sooner or later we should be there. It's kind of weird though to be going into a carnival with no lights in it. Like, I don't know what Knuckles sought to accomplish by turning off all the lights. Maybe he was trying to make it so Sonic and Tails couldn't feel their way to the carnival at dark? Only problem is that as far as the game itself is concerned, that strategy doesn't work too well. It might have worked on us if we were actually in a real-life Carnival Night Zone. Hint, Sega. But I don't think anybody wants that, because whenever Eggman starts up a theme park, it tends to be anything except good news. You all remember Sonic Colors, where he set up that amusement park in outer space that was actually a trap set by him to collect the Wisp and use their powers for his own end? I wouldn't be surprised if this particular carnival was built for a similar purpose. So in this case, it probably is meant to serve as one of his many bases where he makes a stand against Sonic and Tails. Okay, gonna go through there, activate the switch, with a slot machine trigger. Aha, there it is. If the stars are a faint orange like that, orange or yellow, I can't really tell, looks a lot closer to Tails' color, if anything, it will take you to a slot machine that is surrounded by a cage of the crystalline blocks that we're seeing in the Sonic 1 special stages. But they have a different rule this time around. You can break the blocks away. Are you? The game just did me like that! You took my ring! How dare you! How dare you, Eggman? Wait, then again, he might have heard me saying a lot of bad things about his carnival, so, I'm sorry? I take that back, okay? Now will you give me my ring back? But yeah, the crystalline blocks have a different rule from its bonus stage. You can break away at them, but they won't completely disappear once you do. When you do whittle them away, they'll eventually turn into gold spheres that will eject you from this stage. Hey! Jackpot, baby! Jackpot, baby! And they're worth 100 rings, I see. I thought they might be worth a little bit more than that if you mashed all 3 jackpots in the slot machine, but apparently not. I guess my memory for this game is a little bit more shoddy than I realized. Nevertheless, we made up for the ring that Eggman wrongfully stole from us, so on second thought, I'm not going to apologize for talking smack about your carnival because you are a lousy host. What an interesting turn of events when it comes to the slot machine, huh? Oh yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here, standing near a piece of history in the Carnival Night Zone. This is the very barrel I was talking about from before. The barrel that has ended many journeys when it came to Sonic 3, unless they discovered debug mode, in which case they could just cheat and go right past here. It took me weeks, if not months, to figure out that you could manually control the barrel by tilting the stick up and down. And the reason why I say it took forever for me to figure that out is because the game doesn't make it clear to you that you can control the barrels that way. All the barrels that you came across before usually had their own movement programmed into them, like they move to the left or right, up or down. You get the idea? Although one detail I did note is that the higher up you are before you jump on a barrel, the lower that it sinks. So I guess that was kind of a clue, but in my opinion, it wasn't nearly strong enough of a clue to give away the fact that you could manually control the barrels, because usually you don't have to do anything of the sort. The platforms just do the work for you once you've figured out how to use them in the best possible way. It was kind of like in Sonic 1's Labyrinth Zone, where when you got to like the very last room before the boss came up, you could crouch down until the camera tilted downwards to make the water recede from that room and bring the sponge blocks back down in the event that you found yourself unable to ride the blocks on time before they got taken off screen. But how could you know that is what you were supposed to do? Again, that was something the game never communicated to you. Just like how the game fails to communicate that you can manually control the barrels in Carnival Night Zone. And that was the primary reason why so many people loathe this stage, because it essentially made them give up on this game because they never could find a way past it. Debug mode aside. And for a time that included me until I finally figured it out, and by the time I did, okay, I seem to be stuck. But by the time I figured it out, oh my god, I was both relieved and frustrated at the same time. Like it wasn't even a contest. The stage made me miserable. And as a kid, there were many puzzles I overcame in video games, but that was one of the very few that for a time I could not manage to figure out. So there you have it, a history lesson on why Carnival Night Zone was so loathed by the Sonic community. To the few of you that so happened to like the stage, you might have been lucky enough to find a passageway where you didn't have to deal with the Barrel of Doom. And now that the subject is behind us, Knuckles has sent us off to the boss battle for the second act of Carnival Night. And how it works is, you see that ball directly underneath Eggman? Eventually he's going to drop it, move over to it, oh crap, we're running out of time, we're gonna have to pick it up. But he's gonna move over to the ball, and then surround it with a field of electricity that will try to suck you in. Kind of like the Hydro City Act 2 boss, only it's electrified rather than made of water. Eventually he will run out of juice, and you're going to have to attack him as he's moving to... Wait, can I actually... Oh, Tails actually cheated there. I could have sworn I saw him go straight to that boss while he was attacking it. But yeah, the ball itself has a hitbox, and so do the smaller orbs surrounding Eggman's craft. You can't touch them at all, shield or not. But I think you can use it as the shield to phase through them and get some attacks in against him anyway. Which is nice. Thank you, Tails. Whew. For being even more useful than you were earlier in the first act. Because if you notice, the time counter was actually flashing to signify that we were like less than a minute away from losing a life to a time over. Thank goodness Tails came through with a save. When I got stuck at that section where I couldn't go up those rotating poles earlier, I was starting to panic inwardly, thinking that I wasn't going to be able to get past there in time. But then I found the other section where we could just take a lower pathway to finish the zone. I tried to say stage and zone all at once. I think zone came out before the other did. Yeah, sometimes I need to hit the brake when it comes to commentary. I'm trying to get the hang of it, okay? But yeah, Sonic in a minute. We're at the end of the video, you know. Mercifully, that does it for the Carnival Night Zone of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and that in turn will do it for this video. Thank you all for watching. In the next video, we're going to be going through the Ice Cap Zone. But before I actually do let you all go, here's a little note. We are playing Sonic 3 AIR. It comes with the option of enabling you to activate the prototype version of the Carnival Night theme, which I think is way better than the one that we're listening to right now. You might give that a try at some point and formulate your own opinions on it. But until then, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, drop those likes and comments before you go. And to keep up with this series, along with the rest of my Sonic content, hit that sub button and ring that bell. Ding, ding, ding. Most importantly, ring that bell. That's a lot more effective at keeping you notified what subscribing is these days. This is GamerBlake90, signing off. Thank you for watching. Peace. And don't forget, blue blurs for life. I'll see you all later.